Come down. What time did we come and call?
Call the October the 2nd Lincolnton City Council meeting to order. We could all rise for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You've had a chance to look over your regular agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to be made to the agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the regular agenda as submitted.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Jill. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We've got one item to add to the consent agenda items, and you've got a letter from Richie to the ABC Commission. This is a change for one of the live after fives. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Kevin. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Now we're down to the public comment, and okay, Alan, looks like you're up first. 3 minutes, sir.
Mayor and City Council, I just want to make you aware of something if you're not aware, but Marine Corps is having its birthday, which is 250th anniversary. Marine Corps is older than our country. So, we're having a celebration on the 7th of November for that, to let you know. But I also want to read you a couple of things. Number one, we've got major issues that's going on in our country. Nobody's not mentioned it, but in the city or the county to a degree. But we had, of course, the death of Charlie Kirk, and many others are still dying, churches and everything else. In John 3:3, it says, Jesus answered and said unto him, which was Nicodemus, said, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of Yah. So you kind of would say, what does that matter here? Well, it matters in this, that he says, the fear of the Lord, or Yahweh, is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding. So that's the basis of where we have to stop, or start at, and with fear, but and knowing him. And we'd be short with doing a lot of issues and having a lot of issues in our country if everybody actually feared Yahweh and kept his commandments. And that's what he says, those that love him will keep his commandments. But the problem is sometimes we get things misconstrued and forgotten or whatever. But the scripture says that in Revelation that those that calls themselves Christians, but even lukewarm, he's going to spew them out of his mouth. In Matthew, he even talks about preachers who are lukewarm and not doing their job, or not really born again either, are going to be put in hell. So if preachers and Christians are going to go to hell, and he says all liars, then we need to be very concerned about that. And so the beginning of that, he said, is we need to have a fear of him. And that's in everything that we do. And all about salvation is about surrender. And it's not being religious, and it's not going to a church, it's not having a prayer, being baptized or whatever. It's about surrender. We say a lot of times in churches that salvation's free, but it's not free. It cost the Messiah's life, and it also cost our life, because we have to surrender our life to him and live according to what he says he's pleasing to him, not our opinions. So I encourage you to consider that, because, like I said, the actions that we do and y'all do are dependent upon what's going to happen to our nation. And Charlie Kirk died, and many other people's died because people have not done their responsibility and job. FBI has failed time and time again. Law enforcement's failed. The guy that shot into the LDS church, has found out that people had already reported that he was having mental problems. So things are being reported. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Well, that's all for tonight, okay? And next item, but before I mention it, because Alan kind of triggered something that I meant to mention during the consent agenda. This is also not only the Marines, but Cybersecurity Awareness Month, the Public Power Week, and National Fire Prevention. And we've got some of our firemen back there. We want to thank them for all the work that they do on a daily basis. And next up, if I could get Cliff and Anna to come forward, please. This is a very important recognition for us. And it is the Industrial Appreciation Month. And a lot of people don't realize how important the industry is to the city and county. It helps balance our tax base, provides employment, adds to our tax revenues as far as sales tax and property tax. So this is just a way to let everybody know how much that we appreciate LEDA and their hand in bringing all the industry to Lincoln. So I'll just read part of it. It's whereas the city of Lincolnton is pleased to have industry to support the local economy, whereas these individual companies provide essential employment opportunities for our citizens, and whereas these industrial companies provide local revenues, whereas industrial businesses make considerable contributions to our families and communities, and whereas we recognize and appreciate these industrial appreciations, now therefore we, the City Council of Lincolnton, do hereby recognize our existing industrial businesses, and by virtue of this proclamation give notice to our citizens that the month of October is Industrial Appreciation Month in the City of Lincolnton. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
We'll put Anna between us. It helps us both look a little better. Well, not much. And you have anything you would like to address?
Anna is our existing industry manager, so I'll let her speak on Leda's behalf.
So Mayor Hadley and City Council, thank you for this opportunity and thank you for recognizing the importance of industry with Lincolnton. It's on behalf of LEDA, the Industrial Managers Association, and all industry, thank you for your continued support. We greatly appreciate it.
And we're having our forklift rodeo tomorrow.
23rd annual.
23rd annual. And this is something that I enjoy annually. The skills that those guys and ladies demonstrate are just above and beyond what I could ever do. But thank you all for everything you do for Lincoln.
Thank you for all you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is it gonna be over tomorrow, the school?
Yes. Over at Gaston College. Next, I'd like to recognize Chief Green for a couple of awards.
Mayor, Council, I appreciate it. North Carolina Training and Standards recognized 2 certificates for law enforcement officers. The first one's an intermediate and the second one's an advanced certificate. You earn these based on years of service, education, as well as your training hours. So the officers tonight, it's my honor to present to them their intermediate certificate that they've worked very hard to earn. And so first up, let's see if Carson Williams step up. Congratulations.
behalf
Council, thank you.
On behalf of the city council, we would like to congratulate both gentlemen on their accomplishments, and thank you for picking Lincolnton to work in. We appreciate you. Next item on the agenda is public hearing, and I'll recognize Jean, and I will open up the public hearing.
You did that so fast, I forgot I was supposed to come up here.
We don't fool around here.
This is just little stuff we have tonight. We just have some zoning text amendments that we felt like needed to be made. Transitional infill development is a section in our ordinance. It's a conditional zoning. The section was kind of confusing and lacked clear standards, and it was allowed for projects up to 10 acres. Everything y'all passed so far, with the exception of one project, has been less than 2 acres. We have one 3-acre project, and we have a conditional rezoning that takes over at 2 acres. So we just want to drop that down so that traditional infill developments projects are 2 acres or less, because it allows for creative, like tight fitting, like the townhomes and stuff like that. So we would just like to change that to 2 acres. The other thing we wanted to do is we wanted to add some definitions for public parks and recreation facilities, and then add those as permitted uses to all of our zoning or residential zoning districts. Right now, there's only a few zoning districts that allow for public parks, and as you know, the city's acquired land where we want to either expand parks, renovate parks, or add new parks, and this would just allow parks in every residential zoning district. So that's all we're asking for tonight. As you know, we have to have the proposed statement of consistency, so I only did one for approval. If you decide that you want to deny these text amendments, we can do a different statement of consistency for you, but it's just that it's consistent with the adopted land use plan, and that it's not contrary to the goals and the objectives outlined in the plan, and approval of the amendment is reasonable and in the public interest. Any questions for me?
If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the planning board's recommendations.
Public hearing. Close.
I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close.
Motion by Kevin. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Now I'll entertain a motion to approve the planning board recommendation.
I make that motion.
Motion by Jill. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Gene.
Thank you.
And next item on the agenda, I'll turn it over to Pam for the budget amendment.
Good evening, hope you're doing well. I come to you requesting to add an additional $357 to the budget. The majority of this is reimbursement from NCDEQ for our AIE grants that hopefully within the next, at least by the end of this calendar year, we will have those completed. That is in the amount of $63,300. Of the other funds, the majority of this is for online convenience fees we've collected and some police revenues from fingerprinting and from off-duty DSS work. But if you have any questions, I'll be more than glad to answer them.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the budget amendment as presented.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Roby. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Pam. Okay, Tanya, you're up. Personnel Policy, Article 2.
Thank you, Mayor. The legislature put in a new law for us that we now will have to follow in reference to having backgrounds completed by the SBI in specific positions within the city. And that would be positions that interact with children in any sort of capacity. And so in your packet, I had included, of course, the law that it references to and several different pieces of it. It's actually under Session Law 2025-16, which is known as the Fostering Care in North Carolina Act. It's about 30-some pages long, and the last paragraph of it deals with us. So, by the statute, and it does say in that statute, as it was a item added onto it in the memo I sent you, that the council shall require the applicants who fall under this to have their fingerprints completed and the background run through the SBI. So the policy I included is one that outlines the process we're going to follow to complete this. Now, I do want to make it clear, we already do pre-employment background checks on all of our candidates for the city. This one here is specific to any positions with children. And the current background that we've run, even though it covers these types of acts, the law is going to require us to do the one through the SBI. And so that's what the policy is about, to add it into our personnel policy and how we're going to go about getting that completed. We are very fortunate that our police department already is set up to do fingerprints. So that assists us versus some of the other cities and towns out there that do not have that in place. And they also can do it electronically. And that will help us also, because we anticipate this process is also going to delay us in being able to put people in positions, because you have to wait for the clearance, the background check to come back. And we do not know how long that will take. They think about 2 to 3 weeks, but because it's having to be implemented by a lot of other entities, it could be a little longer than that. So we need to look at our timelines in reference to hiring positions that are going to meet these requirements. So what I have before you is that we add this piece to the personnel policy in reference to the background checks for the positions, and also it does address active employees too, which at the very end of that policy you would have seen that, the requirement, because basically they should be already telling us if something happens, but we added it and put it in writing since we had to do pre-employment too. So, do you have any questions?
How many employees, city employees, will this impact? That will have to have that done?
We've already sent out to all the departments in reference to them to identify positions. Basically, our Parks and Rec, that's pretty straightforward. Any paid position, whether it's part-time or full-time. So that's our Parks and Rec employees. There's a couple of positions in different departments that you really would not have thought of, like our plants, because they do tours with children as a job function. And so each department has received a list of their positions, asking them to identify the positions that may fall under it. So police and fire are already on the list. So
is there a cost from the FBI, or is there?
The SBI, that is, I think it was a $35 charge that the SBI, and this cannot replace the background that we're already going to run, because not everything's going to come back on the SBI one. That's specific to acts for the children. So the one that we run, our criminal background, picks up all kinds of other things that may not fall under that specific guideline.
Can we still not get background checks from, what, NCIC? Is that it? What is it, Chief, you know?
So we get,
Uh,
the police department can run checks for NCIC, but we can only do it for criminal justice employees. We have to do our own background.
Yeah.
you can't do your own background. That's what I'm
We
asking.
have to do our own backgrounds, and it is run through NCIC,
But it's
basically
only
the same
their
information
employees.
she's gonna get from the SBI, but we're not allowed to give it out.
We're just going to be required to do our positions now through the SBI for ones that deal with children. So, yes, the police departments, they've always been doing that, but ours has been through a third-party vendor for our criminal backgrounds, and it's amazing the things that we pick up through that, but this is a requirement of the law now, so we're going to have to put it in place.
And it was just a matter of time, because the schools have been going through this for
Yeah.
years and years. So, and it's to protect the children. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the extensive background checks.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mark. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And Tanya, you're back up.
I'm
Already
here
scheduled?
again. I'm here to help the PD. That's what I'm here for right now. So, Chief had come before y'all a while back in reference to a Governor's Crime Commission Criminal Justice Grant. And that is for a 2-year period, and I think it was, is it $75,000 a year for 2 years? There is no match to it. So he was anticipating that he would have approval of the grant because he believes that they are in top contention for it and thinks it will be approved. He just does not have the approval yet. But in order for him to recruit for the position, when he does get the approval, we have to have it on our position classification listing. So he's anticipating that they're going to get approval within the next couple of days. And so what we're requesting is that in reference to our position classification listing and our salary schedule, that contingent upon chiefs receiving the approval for the grant, that we add the one position. If for some reason he does not get the grant, we will not add the position. But that's what was included in your packet. And the whole reason for doing this is because they believe they're getting it at the 1st of October, whether they're approved or not. And that gives us the ability to go ahead and start recruitment for it. So, because we can't start recruitment unless it's approved position.
Is that position paid for by the grant fully?
Yes.
Fully funded by the grant?
Yes, I think Pam has done quite a few calculations for chief.
And there's no payback.
There's no match.
There's no match to it at all.
And it's for a 2-year period?
Yes.
Okay. So at the end of that 2-year period, does that position just automatically become a position, or is that something?
No,
that's-
it'll dissolve unless council decides
To
that
add the
keep it,
position,
yeah.
Okay.
And it'll show up. It's kind of like the COPS grants that have already been approved and we've got people in position. So it's for a certain time frame, and then that decision has to be made as to whether those positions actually become regular budgeted positions
Okay.
when the grants are ended.
So that will come, if that will come before council before anything long-term is
Yeah,
done.
because it had to be it had to be budgeted with dollars that weren't grant dollars.
Okay. Sweet. Thanks.
And every fiscal year when we do the budget, there's always a listing of budgeted positions that is approved by council. That's part of the budget process. What we need is approval of the proposed change for the schedule of budgeted positions for one police social worker. And then also for the salary schedule.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve. Do we need to take two separate?
Well, both of them are going to have to be approved, so I would think both, they have 2 separate ones.
Cleaner.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the position first.
So moved.
Motion by Kevin. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Now entertain a motion to approve the salary schedule.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Jill. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, and Tanya, you got one more.
Moving right along.
And, that's about benefits.
Okay, so this has to do with some changes to the administrative policies, and that is actually rewriting, well, adding one, which is policy number 27, which was included in your packet, which would be replacing administrative policy number 10, which was in your packet also. And then there's a second part to this that we want to look at consideration of establishing a stipend amount and an employee benefit amount. But looking at the policies, the administrative policies first, this would be updating that policy from what it said. I know you had it in the packet so you could see how it was written. It was a rather old policy that first been put in place in 2012, and then it had a revision on it, which was done in like 2016, or there was a 2020, but there was also a 2016 prior to the 2020. And that policy, number 10, was kind of outlining what employees were eligible for in reference to the benefits and health insurance. So we've had quite a few changes that have occurred since then, and that is why it was looked at in reference to revising it. So policy number 27 would replace it. And that gives the guidelines and outlines more in reference to, as to how these expenses are going to be determined, how the manager is going to set them each budget year, because it had been quite a while since the, what we call an insurance stipend had been adjusted. And so we were looking at making this policy more comprehensive to be able to cover what is going on in benefits and health insurance currently. The other thing I had, which really isn't a part of this, but it's just an example in reference to what's occurring in reference to the state health plan and the changes that are being made there. So the intent of the memo was to ask for the Administrative Policy 27 to be put in place, replacing Administrative Policy number 10. Any questions y'all have about that?
Do this in two different ones. First, policy number 27, replacing policy 10.
And these are administrative policies. They're not part of the personnel policy.
So we're looking for a motion for that?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, yeah, I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion by Kevin. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Now, the second part is the
consideration of establishing the stipend amount and establishing the employee benefit amount, because we have two groups of eligible type of employees. So on the second page of your memo, there was a 2A, which talked about an insurance stipend. And this is something that is already in place and has been for quite some time, I believe since 2017, and has consistently been the same amount. And we were looking for that to be increased to the $70 monthly. It's an insurance stipend, which means it's not associated to any particular benefit, but it's a stipend to allow employees to be able to apply against whatever benefits they may elect to have for themselves, because everybody has different types of needs in their family. Is there any questions about, I guess, 2A?
part of the cafeteria benefits that an employee can pick and choose.
Yeah,
Which
because
would
we have
better-
voluntary benefits. The city does not pay for vision. We have other voluntary benefits through Colonial, which is cancer, long-term, short-term disability, insurance for life, term and whole life. There's different products that employees can choose from.
What's happened though is, before this, we had a $50 contribution from the employee, which we matched, which was our stipend. But now the health plan has decided, instead of having that $50 per employee, they're doing it based on the employee's salary, which I'm not sure why that's
Why
not
that
based
even
more
makes a
on other
difference.
factors, but they're doing it, and that's, it's up to them. So by doing the 70, it pretty much keeps all our employees, if they choose the 70-30, from having to add additional money for that. Now, anybody making over, I think it's 90, will have to contribute $10 toward that. But we felt like by doing 70, it impacted the least amount of our employees. But this is a trend that will continue as healthcare goes on and up and up. So I don't see it getting better. But we felt like this would be the least impact to our employees. And it is going to cost the city more money, but we've not adjusted that $50 in years. So
it increases the damage to the budget, or the cost of the budget, $50,000, is that what I'm saying?
Correct.
Roughly. Now, down below here, it talks about decreasing of 41,000. What is
That's
that?
the second portion. We have a separate group of what we call benefit eligible employees in policy, and those are ones that were hired prior to 2012. And back then, there's been all sorts of changes in the health insurance industry. And I think Mayor and Roby was on council at that time when these changes started coming about. So employees that were hired 2012 were actually grandfathered, and I currently have 40 of these type of employees left. And so that's really not a stipend. That is a benefit that the city is doing for that employee, where the child cost of health insurance is still being paid by the city. Now, not all 40 of them, of course, have children on the plan, but there is this small group of 40, which we anticipate a good portion of them are going to be retiring in the next few years when you look at the ones that we still have. But yes, that is a separate item that we were going to look at, because at this time, with the changes that the state health plan is putting into place and these salary bands, it's not as easy to determine what that rate would be. Previously, it was based upon the setup they had, the state health plan had at that time. I will say general statute does dictate that employees will pay what the state health plan sets up as the premium for the employee premium. So in reference to your dependents, this grandfathered group would be in that other category and would not be included in that statute. But that is where, at this point, in talking to the manager and being able to determine what should that amount be, because when I sent y'all the chart that we'll be going by, and it shows all these different salary bands, and you see everybody's in a different category now. So it's very difficult to determine what is a child portion for an employee. So a set amount is what was looked at, and the manager in our department with our benefits representative also, we looked at several different amounts to determine. And because the state health plan had on overall done a decrease for children, that's how come a decrease ended up being the overall difference for the children. And that offsets what the increase to the stipend is, except for about just under 8,000.
8,500.
I guess that's the question I was getting at. So the real cost is about $8,000.
Yeah.
When you take away the one and add the
Add
other.
the other, the overall cost for that piece of it, yeah.
And the thing is, I'm not sure, I think it was around 2014, 15, when we signed on for the state health plan. We're committed for
Yeah.
life.
That came
But
in
I'm not gonna
2016.
lie, we were seeing increases of
We were double-digit
20,
increases.
30.
Yeah.
%. And we've not seen that, but it sounds like, from what we've gathered, that they should have had increases, and they didn't. And now they're playing catch up. And so we're gonna be part of the catch up. And there's not much we can do, but to be transparent, we've benefited from not having those increases for all these years, but now we're gonna have those increases.
Yeah.
Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the stipend program.
I so move.
Motion by Roby. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Yeah, whenever Roby and I first got on city council, we were independently insured, and the rate of it was skyrocketing.
We had
And,
been a
the state-
member, of the League of Municipalities insurance plan with other cities and towns for decades. And of course, we went to the state health plan in 2016, which has been a tremendous savings to the city since then. And I'm not sure if y'all are aware, but the League of Municipalities health insurance program actually was dissolved as of this past June 30th because it was no longer sustainable because of the costs. And so that is what you're seeing out in the industry. There's a lot of movement, and expenses are just, health insurance is out of control. That's all that we can really say about it. It's better to be in a large pool than to be in a small one, definitely.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that the chamber is involved in, and it's nationwide for all the chamber members, but they're gonna allow them to create one large pool. So if you're a member of the Chamber of Commerce and you've got 2 or more employees, you can be part of that large pool. Because I know for myself, being part of a small business, it's about impossible to have insurance. So, you know, it's trying to get people in those pools, and that's the difference between being able to afford insurance and not being able to afford insurance. But Tanya's correct. By us joining the state health plan, it put us in there with all the state workers and other cities and so forth. But you're there for life, and there's nothing you can do because they're basing everything off that number they've got in there.
Plus, if you had to go out and seek insurance now, you couldn't find a carrier that would cover
I've had
it.
correspondence with one other town who is in the state health plan, and they had actually gotten quotes as to replacing their plan, and it was like a 300% increase.
So even though we gripe about it, it's still the
It's still
Better than the
better
alternative.
than the
Yeah.
alternatives, definitely. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tanya. Okay, next up, I'll turn it over to Daphne about filling the various positions for the boards and commissions.
Mayor, December, you're gonna have several vacancies created from expiring terms. Half of them are eligible for reappointment, so I have not listed those there, but the three that are listed here are gonna have vacancies where the person would have already completed 2 3-year terms, and so these will be vacancies that will need to be filled. I'm just looking for the direction to post the vacancies so that we can open up for applications. I will bring the applications back to you next month for you to review, and then the appointments will be made at the December meeting.
Do we need to take a motion on that?
No,
Yeah,
it's
just for information.
just informational purposes.
And we've got one vacancy that's now.
We do, yeah, if you go down to number 4, Historic Properties Commission, last December, this vacancy was created, but we received no applications. So it's been vacant since last December. We just last week received an application for this position, so I wanted to go ahead and present it to you and to ask that you make a motion to appoint. And I think I put the application, Rob Buff.
You did. And you've had a chance to look at Mr. Buff for the historical properties. I'll entertain a motion to approve Rob Buff for that position.
So moved.
Motion by Roby. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And Rob's a former employee. Good guy.
Involved in the Historical
Oh,
Association
gosh,
too.
he's gone crazy with that stuff. He's one of the reenactors.
Actors, yeah.
Very good.
Oh, yeah, he's in it big. He sleeps in his uniform like
Have to ask Donna that and see.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm proud to say it's gonna take me a little bit to get through the promotions and training and certificates, but, we've had a lot of employees that are taking advantage of training opportunities, and we've had good being promotions. I also wanna, welcome John and Daniel, our 2 new police officers. They were up here the other day, and looking forward to being able to work with them in the future. Promotions, we've had Darius Collins, promoted to a master police officer, Elijah Herron, firefighter 2, Lisa Schrantz, police officer 2, and then David Dellinger was promoted to equipment operator 2. Training certifications, I'd like to mention that Terry Connor and Mr. Daniel Perry at, they are utility management certified now, and this is through Water Pro Academy. Both of them completed that. And then Christopher Collins received his C surface water treatment facility operator. Justin Elmore received his B distribution, water distribution operator. Terry Connor completed a 30-hour OSHA certification. Christy Morris has been busy. She completed FEMA training, North Carolina League of Municipality Managing Road Closures and Cybersecurity 101 and Utility Damage Prevention. And then Scott Clark has also completed North Carolina League of Municipalities Cybersecurity 101. And then Tyler Russ and Terry Ratz attended the chlorine, rail safety, and hazmat emergency response training. And that is important because, as y'all know, we have a train that goes through the middle of our town. And you'd probably be surprised sometimes what it's hauling. So it's important for our guys to understand, according to what's on that placard, is how we treat that incident. Also in your packet is the monthly homeless report. We had 14 incidents and 19 charges, but just to kind of circle those charges, 8 of those were one individual. So it kind of skews the numbers a little bit, but you can see it in the report. On your action item spreadsheet, we had talked about the stop sign at Academy in Sycamore. The Traffic Safety Committee met, and next Friday we're going to put up our temporary stop sign, and then we're gonna install a permanent stop sign as soon as we get the sign here, because we'll have to do something a little bit different there because it's going to be a little bit harder to see that sign. So we want to make sure that we've got signs letting you know the stop sign's coming up, and the stop sign's going to be a little bit taller as well too. But just to let you know, that's been taken care of. I did put the fund balance in there since we're going to have our workshop in October, just to kind of give you an idea of how the fund balance has grown over the last 3 or 4 years. And some of that will be utilized on our projects that we've got slated in the next year or two. I put an article in there, and it was the top 25 most dangerous jobs. And ironically, every individual we have that works outside is on this list. Firemen, police officers, linemen, construction workers, lawn maintenance, people that are riding on tractors, everything that we've got outside is on this top 25. And I got a feeling if we pulled up a top 25 stressful jobs, the rest of the employees would fall under that. But that just tells you, when we get these safety awards, how amazing that is, because these young men and women are out there performing these jobs and they're staying safe while they're doing it. And it saves the city and the citizens money because we are doing it in a safe way. But I just wanted to, it's interesting talking about some of those professions, but like I said, every job we've got that is in a skilled labor out, they are on this list. So that just tells you our guys, what they deal with on a day-to-day basis. There's also a report that David Ramsey's been supplying Scott and I, and it shows you a breakdown of the Startown development. So it shows you the houses that have been sold up there and the revenue we're receiving in the general fund and the water and sewer. And then I put Betty's DDA calendar in there because really it provides a lot more dates, and it gives you an idea of what we've got going on in our downtown. So I put that at the back. It just wanted to go over a couple things. And John, you may mention Halloween. I'm not sure in your report. But we do have on the 9th, the band is the Unknown Artist Band, and that is our Live After 5. And then on the 10th, they have a downtown fall art crawl from 5:30 to 9. And then the 11th is the second Saturday. And then we have on the 31st, and like I said, this will be mentioned by John, but we have a Halloween walk that day. That's through Partners and what's the name of the group that does the Helping Hands? Place to Grow. I'm sorry. Yeah, Place to Grow. And they'll be coming through the downtown around 10. And then that evening on Water Street, we're going to have the Halloween Bash that John will talk about. And then also we have the ride-through, which will be the Recreation Department, the Culture Center, and the churches. So, any questions? All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
Next up is John with his report.
We've got several litigation cases we're still working on. So I can only comment on these to the extent that it's just public knowledge. Our Lapari case, which we've had going on now for about 6 months. The main defendant, Lipari, had filed a third-party complaint against AT&T, who has a line. They were basically saying, oh, your line's too low. They have realized that AT&T is apparently not the true party in interest. It's spelled south. So they filed a motion to, well, they haven't filed it yet. They've asked for agreement. We've agreed to allow them to do that. But that's going to back things up a little bit on that one, unfortunately. For us, since the city's after recoupment of the expenses incurred by the city when they took down the power line. The land lawsuit, that one has been slowed down as we are now, we have a third party coming into that one, which is Historic Preservation Foundation, North Carolina. So that's been agreed to. They've come in, and we've bumped that deadline out to December 8th. More because we had no choice than that we wanted to. But so that's where we're on that one. And then the Broom case is still in litigation. Warren case is still in litigation, but the big change there is, as y'all might recall, the city asked for and got approval by the court to appoint a guardian ad litem. Ms. Warren, myself, Gene, and Trey met with Ms. Pomeroy, who is the GAL for Ms. Warren, out at her place. And we're trying to work with her to, while we have to take care of that issue out there, we're trying to protect her. So we're working on that right now. Hopefully we can come up with a resolution that would be good for the city and all parties involved. And then 5 has been resolved. 6, I'm going to ask you all during closed session to approve a complaint, unless we have changes. And then everything else on my list that y'all have would be closed session stuff under A3, A4, or A6. And then just a couple other small items. Our appointed citizens board. Ms. Daphne, I'm going to check with you to see what your application looks like that we're already using. I've got several that we were kind of putting together, but I want to see what you've got. I might be able to shorten that time delay up and getting that out. What we found out is we've got more folks interested than I think we have positions for. So I think the max y'all approved was 12. I think we could easily fill that. So we're going to go ahead and issue applications, let people fill them out and bring it in. So now, Kevin, you and I don't count to that 12. So there'll be 12 other folks.
Okay.
Since I'm just the city attorney, and you're the council member that's on the board. But my goal is to have those in, and then we'll do December for y'all picking the members. But I've had a lot better response on that than I thought. Matter of fact, there's probably a couple of people sitting here in the room that have expressed interest in being on that board. So, and with all the stuff we got going on with the homeless issue, it's going to be a popular board, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
So, and then October 31st, let me mention this one real quick. This is our Halloween bash that the city and Downtown Development Agency is putting on. We have two large sponsors. We got our platinum sponsor is Tryon Title. They have donated all the food that's going to be free. Now I will admit it's just hot dogs, but it's hot dogs from Proper Provisions, which is down on South Academy, right up from our office.
That are free.
They're going to be free. That's the key word, free.
Makes them better.
And if you've had any of John's food over at Proper Provisions, it is excellent. So it's not that we're putting down city lunch, because someone thought it was city lunch. No, they didn't. John stepped up for this one, so he's helping us with that. And Carolina Auto Direct is our gold sponsor. They are providing probably a lot of the candy. So it's 5 to 8 on Halloween night, which is Friday night, the 31st. And we're going to block off all of, water, and South Academy. We're gonna fan out, obviously, from inside of, or outside of our office, there on the corner. Businesses, any businesses in town are invited to attend. All they gotta do is bring a table or whatever they wanna set up to hand out information. The only requirement we have is they bring candy for the kids. So if you bring candy for the kids, you can set up, talk about your business, network, etc. My goal, for at least me personally, I'm gonna try to bring my 36 Chevy. I know it's a couple years outside of Bonnie and Clyde era, but I'm gonna dress up as Clyde. I don't know if my wife's gonna come with Bonnie or not, but we're working on that. But we're gonna do pictures, photo op. Cars gonna be outside the house. West Side Cruisers are gonna bring some of their cars and set up. So we're gonna do like a trunk or treat because they're not bringing tables set up for business. Betty thinks 1,000+ kids, so I think that number is probably going to be fairly accurate. So hopefully for the first time, this is the first time we've done this. It's already turning out to look pretty good. So, and then other than that, all the rest of my stuff is closed session. So,
Thank you, sir.
I got a few more closed session, unfortunately.
Next item, Mike, you got any questions before we go into closed session?
Could you elaborate on the citizens board? Is that related to vacancies on boards and commissions, or is that something else?
It'll be different. This board's brand new. I asked for and got approval, I think, in June of this year. Yeah. So the idea is to put together a board that can talk about any issue that we have going on in town, develop strategies, solutions, etc. The biggest issue I think it's going to be focused on by this group, my guess is going to be the homeless situation, because that seems to be probably the biggest issue plaguing our city right now. I mean, at least from my perspective, it is.
You solicited nominations for it?
Yes, nominations. Anybody's interested? I've tried to mention it each meeting. I know
It'll be advertised just like
Yeah.
the other positions are.
Yeah. Matter of fact, we can do that right now. So, because
As
it's
a legal notice or just generally?
Yeah.
Oh, no, we're required by statute to advertise those positions, and they'll have to have staggered terms and everything.
You won't have a problem getting nobody to come. I promise you.
Yeah, I think that one will fill up. Some of our other boards, I'm not so sure, but that one I think will fill up.
What do you anticipate filling?
It's 12, up to 12 positions. So when I asked for approval, I think the minimum was 6, maximum 12. Going off recollection.
Meetings will be open to the public?
Yeah, we're gonna probably do once a month. I mean, it'll either be here or if we got enough room in my office, it'll be over there. Which is literally on the other side of Courthouse Square, but yeah, it's gonna be somewhere convenient and easy for folks. So, no pay, sorry, but volunteer.
The grant, position classification for the police social worker, is that related to the intern that you've had dealing with psychological issues?
It is similar, but that was something that we had went through initially with Western Carolina and UNCC.
And UNCC.
But yeah, but this is a grant that pays a permanent position or a full-time position for those 2 years. Yeah. So it wouldn't be an intern. It would be
A social worker.
a full-time. It'd be a full-time position.
But essentially be kind of similar.
Very similar.
Dealing
Yeah.
with unstable individuals and so forth, the police might.
Well, unfortunately for our police officers, a lot of times they're having to operate like a social worker in the things they deal with. And so hopefully this person will be able to take those responsibilities off of them so they can actually go out and patrol and, and do the things that they were hired to do. But we see that a lot in government. A lot of us become social workers, whether we were hired to be or not.
To be like, it's 2 years, 75,000.
Yep. Per year.
Next item on the agenda, I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session dealing with personnel and,
Yeah, we got three statutory sections we're gonna be under.
And real estate.
state.
I'll make that motion.
Yeah, I think that covers it.
Kevin, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. After we go into closed session, we will return to open session